Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is leading aircraft woman Claire Thrift. We warmly welcome the family of Private William Reginald Mathews, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of Newman Senior High School visiting from Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private William Reginald Mathews. William Reginald Mathews was born to William and Mary Mathews in August 1893 in the central New South Wales town of Portland. He was one of the couple's 5 children, 4 of whom survived childhood. William attended public school in Portland and later became a labourer in the district. After Britain declared war on Germany in August 1914, tens of thousands of Australian men volunteered for military service. Mathews travelled to Lithgow in October 1915 and enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. He undertook his initial training at the Army camp at Kazula, where he was appointed to reinforcements for the 20th Australian Infantry Battalion in January 1916. In March, Mathews embarked on board the transport ship Osova at Sydney and sailed to the army camp in Egypt. The AAF had spent the early part of the year restructuring and recovering from the Gallipoli campaign. Mathews completed his training in Egypt and sailed for France in May. Later that month, he came down with influenza and spent a little over a week in hospital. At the end of July, Mathews joined the 20th Battalion in the field. At the time he arrived, British and Australian forces were fighting in the Somme campaign at Pozières. After the 1st Australian Division captured the village on the 23rd of July, the 2nd Division had taken over. The 20th Battalion was now in the frontline trenches. Throughout the fighting around the village, German artillery laid down intense and long-lasting barrages on the Australian positions. After a disastrous attempt to push forward from the village and capture the high ground beyond on July 29th, the 2nd Australian Division would soon try again. On the evening of the 4th of August, they mounted a major assault that eventually captured some high ground featuring a prominent windmill. It was a hard-won victory. Over 12 days at the front, the division suffered almost 7,000 casualties. The Germans continued their artillery barrages, along with infantry counterattacks armed with hand grenades and machine guns. At some point on the 5th of August, 1916, Mathews went missing in action. He had been with the unit for only 8 days. It was not until March 1918 that a court of inquiry officially found that Mathews had been killed in action during the battle at Pozières. He was 23 years old. Private Mathews' body was never found. His name appears on the Villa Bretonneau Memorial in France, alongside more than 10,000 other Australian soldiers killed in the war who have no known grave. William Mathews' older brother also served in the AIF. Private Roy Mathews joined in February 1916 and served in France with the 30th Battalion. He developed a bad case of trench foot and returned to Australia in July 1917. Private William Reginald Mathews is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Reginald Mathews, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.